Hello, I'm Dr. Wendy Rowley, and this is the Heartfield Series, episode 23. The last episode, we talked a little bit about group soul intention out in the field through the higher self soul group body and creating bridge pictures to what we want. And there's quite a bit given there about healing and the pain body that we have and the friction of the soul through the pain body and the importance of asking for help during healing. All right, let's see what we're going to cover in this episode. And if you would like, subscribe, and comment. And I appreciate it because we want to spread the word about this ability for profound soul group healing in the human crystalline grid for tribes, nations, and large soul group families so that we can scrub the grid and get the memory of all of the pain and the war and the greed and all the things that were created back through all of our history moved out so that new and benevolent creation can come in. And that is the reason I've come forward and why I do these tapes and series on YouTube, because we're bringing together a large global healing party. All right, let me get out of the way and let's see what we're going to hear today. Good day to you, dearest beings of light. I am Allaenea of Cosmic Service, Pleiadian Mother of Sound. Peace be with you, peace be with you, peace be with you. What we wish to speak about this day is about in the field, there are 3 levels of potential creation. We wish to speak about the greater field. Now, we've said how you have your aura and your body, and it is all of your higher self's records. That's the picture you mainly see on the web of chakras and a spirit body or human body with chakras as an overlay of a spirit body. And you'll see an egg-shaped bubble, as this one calls it, an aura around the field of the person. That is the inner torus of your energy field, and it is your higher self's records, which are stored in that area around your body. Your galactic records of your soul's experiences before this planet are in the outer torus, which is mainly creating potentials and a whole bunch of anatomy that's all for your evolutionary future. And your auric field is basically 23 to 26 feet wide. So in all of your little bodies together, you create a group field at the level of tribes, nations, and human families that come together over and over and over and over again as soul groups for learning and healing and creating together, learning how to do that as a group. So in this greater field that you all share, which is a band around the outer periphery of the planet, and that is a place where there is soul group creation. And you have a higher self soul group body there, as well as you have a higher self soul group body at the higher level of the human crystalline grid, which has these recordings of tribes and nations on it. And then you also have a third higher self group spirit body. So there are 3 soul group spirit bodies in what's called the interim creational grid, or the interim Christ grid, or the interim soul creational grid, which is in between the soul master grid, the soul Christ grid, the soul mastery grid, and the human crystalline grid. And it is a segue and a moving grid and a grid of change and creation. And it is through that grid that access to what we have, our time capsules, our Pleiadian wisdom that was laid here long ago when the earth was preparing for you to come. So the greater field out where you all share in this great field is a small band of human group creations on the human crystalline grid that could use healing, but mostly potentials of evolutionary fulfillment to the Supreme Being's creation, potentials of evolutionary fulfillment to the Supreme Being's creation, potentials of evolutionary fulfillment to the Supreme Being's creation. When we say things 3 times, it is for the vibration of it that you feel at some level in your being, if it is true for you or not. For the words and the vibrations through words have a power. This one has actually seen that. We're going to share a story with you of something she experienced. She was invited to a wedding, and there was a famous folk singer there. It was a small, intimate wedding, and the drummer of this famous folk singer's band had a sister who was marrying someone she knew. So she went on a trip with this person who knew the groom and was at this wedding. And there were 9 people in a condominium having a brunch, and this famous folk singer was there. So someone finally asked her something, and she started to tell a story. And as she told the story, little swirls came out of her mouth of energy and swirled and went forward. And in that story, part of it was trying to get an Indian to do some chanting. And she finally got the Indian to agree to chant in the background of her song. And he said, but let me hear the lyrics to your song. And she told them to him. And he looked at her and he said, you have the power of words. And so while she's hearing this folk singer tell that story, she's literally seeing the power of words come out of this famous folk singer's mouth. And we'll give you a little hint because we wish to keep her integrity and her privacy. But she is known for singing something about the blue, and we will leave it at that. And so this is a true and profound thing, that there is great power in words. So then when you hear us repeat something 3 times, that is why. All right, so back to the field and the greater soul group awareness and what you're able to create at the soul group level. You set an intention just like you do in your everyday life. And so in healing, you set an intention for what you want. Matter of fact, in all of creating, you set an intention for what you want. Because if you keep focusing on what you don't want or what you no longer wish to experience, it sends a power of intention there and keeps it going. So when you want to change, when you want to heal, when you want to create, and when you want to group soul create, you come together in an intention of the benevolence, the hope, the promise, the light, the grace, the healing, the ability to create, the ability of divine connection through creation to the creative source, and you focus on what you want. This premise is as old as recorded history and goes far beyond that. This premise was even laid by our teaching long ago in a place called Lemuria. And it is also throughout every wisdom teaching, every secret society, every corporate advertising campaign, every picture that is sold to you. It is all the same thing. It's promise and hope. Or buy this, because you'll be better if you have it. But it's still an uplifting picture mostly, is it not? So it is a profound truth. So at the soul group level, there is the ability to do profound healing. And this ability is here now for the first time, as we said in the last video. And in the heart of the creative source, some people call it the divine blueprint for a planetary system. Some people call it the divine blueprint, period. Some people call it the great overarching plan for supreme being. Some people call it the will of the creative source of divine intelligence. There are many, many, many names for the fact that maybe the creator has an overarching plan of creation for a planetary system. And in that creation, there are 3 types of evolutionary paths that can be taken. The first one is the one that we took, and that is to create directly through your spiritual nature and to learn to do that, such is why we can travel through space as encapsulated consciousnesses in a particular type of spirit body, specially designed for that we have, that you have. And as we've said in some of the other series, you have many spirit bodies of future potentials with which you can evolve through. An interesting thought. So there's the ability to create directly through the spiritual being of a human and learn that way. And there are many examples we could give, and we will give one more. This one was aware of a advanced being on the planet, an adept, one of the masters that walk the earth. There are approximately usually 4 to 6 on a planet at any one time for the stabilizing effect that they have on the human crystalline grid, through their akash, through their presence on the earth, and usually through some profound work that they're doing behind the scenes. And one of these masters was well known, a man named Sai Baba, who had an ashram in India. And she took a meditation course with someone that had been a devotee of Sai Baba and gone over there many, 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 many times. So she became aware of Sai Baba's presence and energy through him, to the point that actually at a grocery store once Sai Baba appeared to her and went like this to the peaches she was looking at and showed a picture of the doctor who was leading the meditation. And so she bought him peaches. And he said it was a joke between Sai Baba and him about peaches. So there you go. But anyway, so she heard Sai Baba can manifest out of the air a sacred ash that would be packaged up and given to people. And in India, this is a well-known thing in the continent of India from their ancient history, that you can have a vibratory thing from a blessed master. And you can put it under your tongue, or you can put it on your third eye, or put it somewhere on your body if you have pain. And it is a vibration, uplifting of blessing and intention, and almost like a timeline pre-vibration, because Sai Baba worked at pretty profound creational levels. And so this would be given as a blessing to someone seeking help from Sai Baba who had problems. And this one has looked at the Devic kingdom and studied, we'll go with that in a minute. But so she looked at Sai Baba in her clairvoyant nature on her screen, as clairvoyants do, up in the 6th chakra, where you do that clair seeing. And she noticed there were a lot of elementals around Sai Baba creating that sacred ash for him. And she was like, well, that's interesting that he is working through creation with those elemental beings. Well, yes, because all creation comes through beings. Even your human body is come through beings. Anyway, that's another subject. But so she was aware that there was different ways of creating. So that is not the first way, but hold on to that memory, because we're going to give you 3 potential ways of creating at the soul group level out in the greater field. So you can have direct experience, and through that, you can directly heal someone, like the Christ Master did through that paradigm. That's an example for you. The second way of manifesting is also by using technology. And some of the planetary systems use a lot of technology to learn about their spiritual nature and develop. And you are well aware that you are entering a lot of technology in your world. And we'll say more about that in a minute. The third way is the way that Sai Baba was doing it. And it's a way of humans enmeshing into the planet in a merge in a different way, that they create a lot through the Devic and elemental kingdoms in a way directly with Earth. And so another example of that is this one read in a book long ago by a woman who brought forward a series of 3 books called the Magdalene series. And there were some stories about Mary Magdalene walking with Jesus. And they came upon a dry riverbed, and Mary Magdalene turned to Jesus and said, well, I need a moment here because there's something I must do. And she went into the dry riverbed and did her thing, and got a stream of water repercolating back into that river that started a flow back, that the river may come back. And then she left and said to Jesus, there'll be a settlement here in the future, and they're going to need that water. That is creating in the earth level through the enmeshment with Mother Earth. Now, in the evolution of a planet and the evolution of consciousness of humans who are creating an overarching multidimensional world with that planet, for you are indeed enmeshed in the planet in many mystical, divine, and creational ways, that is a way of going into deeper merge alchemy with the planet and learning a creational supreme being plan aspect that way. Or there is the way through technology And then there's their way through direct spirit. Now, the people who do the technology do get to the direct spirit eventually, and so do the people who do the enmeshment, as well as so do the people who do the pure spirit. And we see an interesting potential on this planet of you doing both, of doing those who are keeping the pure spirit aspect going, for that is profound on your planet. And there is a direct awareness to that in many of the monasteries and ashrams and sacred places on the earth. And there is the technology coming forward. And the technology has the ability to do both good and bad. And so there is the discernment needed in technology as you learn through that process, as well as there's discernment needed through the spiritual growth process, as well as there's discernment needed through the greater merge with the earth, Divic elemental spiritual process. But we wish you to realize that there are flavors that you personally create as beings enmeshed in this system who are working this puzzle of enlightenment for this planetary system. This sounds funny and heady and weird and fantastic, but it is a truth of the creational levels. And it is a truth of a planetary system, that there is indeed a spiritual, overarching, benevolent connection to the divine source, even at the planetary level. And that there are great overarching beings through all of creation working for the creative source. You have, I mentioned, the beings who created your body through many planetary sojourns in your galaxy. And there are the beings who created your soul connection in the spirit body farther in your evolution. We had something to do with that, and in the grids and all the things that we talk about. And there are those who have the planetary consciousness, like what you call your Gaia or Mother Earth consciousness. And there are even greater beings who hold the consciousness of a whole galaxy, if you can imagine that. For there is throughout all of creation a system of co-creation, for you do not create alone. And so we wished you to realize, even at the galaxy level, where creation is cooperative, at your soul group level, creation is also cooperative. And so for the first time on your planetary system, as we said in the last video, there is the ability to do great healing and scrub clean the droses of the wars and the things that were created in your past that are still alive as a living memory in your crystalline library of the earth, of your soul group, tribe, nation, and large family, planetary soul group family creations. So, this is what we wished you to know this day. You are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do, and we bid you adieu. Focus on what you wish to become. All right, jumping the gun there before I got pulled back a little bit into center there. This is Dr. Wendy Rowley. We're going to keep this short and sweet and move along in this series. I will be putting up information about the Great Global Healing Party starting in January 22 to 26 of 2024, going on 4 times a year, free and YouTube. And there's a lot about it through these videos. Particularly, there was a lot said about it in the episode prior to this one, if you did not listen to episode 22. Please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to comment or ask a question and you don't want to do it on the World Wide Web, I understand that. Seeing how long it took me to come forward to put my face out on the World Wide Web, I did not do this willingly. I can say it that way. And well, not to say they forced my will, but there was a lot to overcome to do this. As far as me as a person, personally, because I'm a little shy that way. So anyway, you can always go to the website The Wonder of Human Design. There's a link. They put it now not in the banner, but in the bar below the banner. That's got the writing in it. The links are there. And on the website, there's several forms of communication. Register Contact has one, and you are welcome to contact me through there and ask a question or make a comment if you feel that you need to do something a little more privately. Great, thanks, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a great time between.